Ancient Egypt is usually a story of gold, glory, and majestic pyramids. We think of King Tut's mask or the massive statues of Ramses the Great. It is a civilization obsessed with beauty and the afterlife. They spent their entire lives preparing to look perfect for eternity. But in 1881, archaeologists found something that shattered that image. They discovered a hidden tomb that wasn't meant to be found. Inside, among the great kings of old, was a mummy that didn't belong. There was no gold. There were no protective amulets. And when they unwrapped him, they found a face frozen in a silent, eternal scream. This is the story of Unknown Man E, also known as the Screaming Mummy. It is a story of a royal conspiracy, a father's murder, and a punishment worse than death. Today, we are digging into the tomb that terrified the archaeologist who opened it. Welcome to the History Vanguard. Before we continue, please kindly like this video, hit the subscribe button, and most importantly, turn on the notification bell. Thank you. The discovery of DB320. The story starts in the cliffs of Deir el-Bahari, near the Valley of the Kings. For years, artifacts belonging to ancient pharaohs were showing up on the black market. The authorities knew someone had found a royal tomb and was looting it. After an investigation, they found a local family who led them to a hidden shaft in the cliffs. This was tomb DB320. It wasn't a normal tomb, it was a bunker. Thousands of years ago, Egyptian priests realized that the royal tombs were being robbed, so they took the mummies of the greatest pharaohs, Ramses II, Seti I, Thutmose III, and hid them all together in this secret cache to keep them safe. When archaeologists entered, it was the greatest discovery in history. But tucked away in the corner was a plain, unadorned cedar box. No hieroglyphs, no name, just a body. The Screaming Mummy. When they opened the box, the smell was wrong. Usually, mummies smell of cedar oil, spices, and natron. This one smelled of decay. And the wrapping was shocking. Royal mummies were wrapped in fine linen. This man was wrapped in sheepskin. To the ancient Egyptians, wool was considered ritually unclean. Wrapping a body in sheepskin was an insult. It meant the person was impure. But the real horror came when they unwrapped the face. The jaw was thrown open, the head tilted back, and the facial muscles were twisted in anguish. It looked like he had died screaming in pain. For over a century, this mummy, catalogued as Unknown Man E, was a mystery. Who was he? Why was he buried with kings but treated like a criminal? The Harem Conspiracy. Modern science finally gave us the answer. DNA testing confirmed that this man was the son of Pharaoh Ramses III, and CT scans showed that he had died by hanging. This evidence points to one of the most famous scandals in Egyptian history, the Harem Conspiracy. Ramses III was a powerful king, but in his old age, his royal court became a nest of vipers. One of his minor wives, a woman named Tai, wanted her son to inherit the throne, but her son wasn't there. So, she hatched a plot. According to the judicial papyrus of Turin, basically an ancient court transcript, Tai and her son, Prince Pentawer, conspired with high-ranking officials, servants, and even the magicians of the court. Their plan was to assassinate the pharaoh during the Opet festival. The plot partially succeeded. Recent scans of Ramses III's mummy show a deep knife wound in his throat. They killed the king, but they didn't get the throne. The rightful heir, Ramses IV, seized power immediately and arrested the conspirators. The trial was swift and brutal, a fate worse than death. Prince Pentawer, the man we now know as the Screaming Mummy, was found guilty. Because he was of royal blood, he wasn't executed publicly. The papyrus says he was left alone in his place. He took his own life. This was the ancient Egyptian code for forced suicide. Pentawer was likely given a choice: face a public, torturous execution where his body would be burned, destroying his chance at an afterlife entirely, or take poison or hang himself in his cell. The CT scans showing the compression marks on his neck suggest he chose the rope. But the physical death wasn't the true punishment. The real horror, the reason this tomb terrified archaeologists, was what happened after he died. The second death. To understand why the Screaming Mummy is so disturbing, you have to understand how the ancient Egyptians viewed death. They believed that for your soul, your ka, to survive in the afterlife, two things needed to happen. First, your body had to be preserved. Second, And most importantly, your name had to be written down and spoken. To speak the name of the dead is to make him live again. The conspirators knew this. So they sentenced Pentawer to the ultimate penalty, damnatio memoriae, or the damnation of memory. They didn't just want to kill him. They wanted to erase his soul from existence. This explains the sheepskin. By wrapping him in a ritually unclean material, they were actively polluting his body. It was a spiritual cage. They denied him the traditional mummification process that would allow him to pass into the field of reeds. They didn't remove his organs. They didn't drain the fluids properly. They simply let him dry out in agony, possibly sewing him into the sheepskin while the rigor mortis of his violent death was still setting in, locking that scream onto his face forever. Most cruelly of all, they denied him a name. The coffin he was found in had no hieroglyphs, no prayers, no name tag. In the eyes of the gods, unknown man-E did not exist. He was destined to wander the darkness of the underworld forever, hungry, thirsty, and lost. The irony of history. But history has a strange sense of irony. The priests who moved the royal mummies into the DB320 cache to protect them from robbers made a choice that seems almost poetic. They took the body of Ramses III, the murdered father, and placed in the same hiding place as his treacherous son. For 3,000 years, the murderer and the victim lay in the same dark shaft, hidden from the world. And the punishment of erasing his name, it failed. Because of modern science, we have not only identified Prince Pentawer, but we have told his story to millions of people. The man who was supposed to be forgotten is now one of the most famous mummies on the planet. Conclusion. The Screaming Mummy is a reminder that the beautiful artifacts of ancient Egypt often hide brutal realities. Behind the gold masks and the giant pyramids, there were real people fighting for power, committing murder, and suffering terrible consequences. When archaeologists looked into that screaming face in 1881, they weren't just looking at a dead body. They were looking at the frozen moment of a son's betrayal and a kingdom's revenge. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darker side of history, make sure to like this video and subscribe to History Vanguard. We'll see you in the next video.